Dating in the Netherlands is unlike anywhere else in the world. This is what I learned through personal experience and observations, as well as comments from other foreigners here in the Netherlands. For some, this is a good thing, and for others, dating a Dutch person would be an absolute nightmare. Let's see what side you're on. Let's start with the term dating in itself. I've come to learn that in the Netherlands, if you say you're dating someone, it's seen as something way serious than what I'm used to. It's not a phrase that people will quickly use when they start seeing someone. And if you're a foreigner in the Netherlands beginning a romantic journey with a Dutch person, you should definitely be aware of this. Because if you use the phrase dating or boyfriend and girlfriend too soon, you might scare them away. I really enjoy my freedom. Freedom to explore, freedom to meet new people, freedom to just be me. And what I noticed about Dutch people is that this is something that they also value, both giving and receiving freedom when dating. In the US, it's quite common that the person you're dating kind of becomes the center of your world. A lot of your activities are planned with or around this person. Whereas in the Netherlands, I noticed that people when they're dating still seem to value having a sense of individuality and freedom, whether this means having their own hobbies, own friend groups, or just having space in general. But even with that being said, what I've also noticed is that Dutch people tend to have friends that go way back. And most likely these friends will be dating someone or have partners in themselves. And what's quite common is that you'll end up forming a big relationship friend group with your Dutch partner's friends and their partners. And I'm not saying you'll see these people all the time, but you'll definitely get together a few times throughout the year just to hang out and make memories. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a seat for this next one. It might be a little controversial, but this is something that I hear common from foreigners that are dating here in the Netherlands. And it has to do with the fact that there's less of emphasis on gender roles here in the Netherlands in the dating scene. Let me explain. Let's start with women. Typically speaking, women in the Netherlands are a bit more independent and less attracted to the idea of a guy taking care of them compared to women in other countries. For example, in the US, it's still quite common that a guy will feel, not just on the first date, but in general when going on a date with a woman, to pay for the bill. But in the Netherlands, it's quite often that a woman would offer to pay for their part of the bill or pay for the whole bill themselves. And not saying that they wouldn't appreciate if a guy is paying for them, but if a guy insists on paying all the time, they're not gonna really be attracted to that. In fact, they might take that as rude.
Here when the man pays the bill, it's considered very old-fashioned. If it's very, like, I'm the man, I want to pay for you. That's not really the style here. So, but if it's like, no, don't worry about it, I'm gonna pay for it, then I think most women would accept, but still, I mean, she would definitely offer.
Now on the other side, when it comes to men, something that I hear often is that Dutch men are not that aggressive. So for example, they won't really approach a woman out in public if they find her attractive.
Het is wel zo in Nederland dat het niet heel gebruikelijk is dat als je bijvoorbeeld een leuke meid op straat ziet, dat je erop afstapt of dat je een compliment geeft of zo. Het gebeurt wel, maar het is niet heel gebruikelijk. Vergeleken als je bijvoorbeeld naar wat meer Zuid-Europese landen gaat, Italië, Spanje, is het wat gebruikelijker dat inderdaad veel gebeurt. In Nederland zijn de mannen wat meer afwachtend.
Or they won't really take too much initiative when it comes to reaching out to make plans or just to have conversation. They'll kind of just leave it in the hands of the woman. But this is just kind of what I hear. Don't judge me for it. Now, perhaps side with the point that I mentioned about freedom, but I've also noticed that Dutch people, when dating, tend to be less jealous and less insecure. Let me paint a picture for you. In the US, if you're a guy dating a girl, and you guys, let's say, go out to a bar, and she goes off, starts talking to some guys, maybe even your guy friends, and she's smiling, laughing, looking like she's having a great time, a guy might think, whoa, what's going on here? Is she interested in these guys? A bit of insecurity, a bit of jealousy would kind of creep up. But a Dutch girl would think, you're crazy for thinking that. I mean, as long as she's not crossing any kind of obvious boundary or whatever the case may be, then there's nothing wrong. And I'll be honest, I'll call myself out. I've had situations in my experience dating a Dutch girl where I thought something was off, I thought something was wrong, but it was actually completely innocent. And I've come to learn and appreciate the Dutch way, if I'm being honest, because in the end, a lot of these things that you may start to get jealous about or insecure about really are not a big deal at all. And if you're a foreigner dating a Dutch person, it's really best that you learn this as quick as possible, because I promise you, it will save you a lot of drama. Now, what's a video about Dutch culture without talking about Dutch directness? I find that the stereotype of Dutch directness is very well reflected in the dating culture here in the Netherlands. When you start dating a Dutch person, be ready to make it clear what your intentions are and mean it. Whether that means you want something serious or casual or in between, just be upfront about it, because they're not really fun about the idea of wasting your time or not knowing where you stand. When I reflect on dating in the US, I feel it's a bit more acceptable to kind of float in this gray area and not really know where the person is or where the person stands, but here, you're not gonna get by with that. Now, obviously a lot of what I'm referring to when it comes to Dutch dating culture has to do with just how Dutch people are in general. And obviously one of the big things I talk about often on this channel is how much planning is a big thing here. So of course that spills also into the dating scene. If you expect to just have spontaneous dates or just kind of do things on the fly, that's not really going to happen here. Instead, you should probably assume that whoever you're trying to make plans with probably has a book calendar for already about 2 weeks. Now, what has also stood out to me is that typically speaking in the US, when people are dating, they try to impress others by what they do for work or their material items, etc. But here I feel like there's less of an emphasis on that. That doesn't really matter so much. It's more so just about who you are as a person and it being a good fit. I mean, obviously I don't want to say it doesn't matter at all, but I feel like it definitely matters less than what I'm used to. Now, my last observation we're going to discuss while I'm walking through this market here in Rotterdam. And it's basically that I've noticed that Dutch people can be dating for a long time without ever getting married. In fact, what I feel is increasingly becoming more and more popular is just entering what's called a registered partnership, which basically gives you all the legal benefits or a majority of the legal benefits of being married without actually being married. And as an American, that's quite strange because it's common that in the US, if you're dating for someone for let's say at least 5 years plus, that the expectation is that you're either getting married soon or you just at least for sure plan on getting married someday. But I feel here in the Netherlands, people are just more so concerned about, am I happy with my partner? Is the relationship good? And that's all that matters. Not really so worried about the idea of being married. It's just, yeah, if I'm happy and I enjoy my relationship, then that's okay. And to be frank, I quite agree with that. I feel like you don't have to just get married just cause that's like the societal standard to do. As long as you're happy, you have a setup that works for you guys, and that's all that matters. And the divorce rates in the world in general are quite high. So I can understand a lot of people are just turned off at the idea of being married because of getting divorced. Now, these are just my observations, but I'm curious, if you're a Dutch person or if you've dated a Dutch person, let me know if you agree with the things that I pointed out in this video. And thank you for watching, and as always, till the next one.